Hello everyone, my name is Savita and today I am going to talk about the unlearning, and this topic came into picture based on my own personal experience working as an agile coach with different organizations. I have noticed that it takes a lot of effort into unlearning the old behavior and learning the new one, but this is the key for successful agile transformation. So let me present my topic to you. The art of unlearning, a conscious choice for successful agile transformation. So we can all make conscious effort to change our behaviors by using some neuroscience principles and models and make our agile transformation more successful. So in this session, I'm going to connect agile behaviors with the neuroscience principles and how our brain really works and what we can learn from neuroscience to help ourselves as well as to our team members to change our behaviors in an easier way. So I am an agile coach. I also provide mentoring to new Scrum masters, product owners, and coaches. I also deliver training on agile various topics. My journey started with IBM when I used to work as a Java developer a decade ago. And the company was going through initial phases of the agile transformation. I got um, I got the training into Agile, and it was so fascinating for me to learn how Agile way of working is different from waterfall. So I remember when I started working as Java developer, my team lead used to ask everyone, provide the estimate for your work. And if I would provide 15 days, he would add 15 days on top of that just to get more confidence and have buffer. And then the manager, before sending it to client, would add another 15 days. So I was never able to understand why we were not honest, why we cannot be transparent. But when we started using Scrum, I felt like the planning was more based on brainstorming, which helped in understanding the work better. And there was a close collaboration with customer, and it was just blew my mind that it's so different. And I just got into Agile since then. I also worked as a Scrum Master, and from last more than 7 years, I have been working on as Agile coach. I worked in multiple countries, particularly in Asia. I was in Singapore for a long time. And right now I am in Toronto, Canada, working with a financial organization as an Agile coach. I am also a certified enterprise coach and team coach from Scrum Alliance and associate certified coach from International Coach Federation. So I'm pretty much invested into learning and using the coaching methods when I work with my clients. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or visit my website, coachingsaga.com. So this year is a big year because we are celebrating 20 years of Agile Manifesto. So in 2001, Agile Manifesto came into picture, and we all know Agile Manifesto is very people oriented. Even if you look into the first principle, it says individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So Agile is all about individuals. It's all about people. It's about being, changing our behavior and mindset. So we are talking about the change in ourselves, It's more than just following the practices. Hence, the Agile Manifesto is still relevant. In 20 years, many Agile methods came, many practices came into picture. And if you look into Agile Manifesto, it's still the same. It's relevant. We don't need to change it. It works very well. So the reason behind it talks about continuous improvement. It talks about better ways of working. However, we see many patterns of agile transformation. It's not only one. Um, but 20 years ago, agile was new. There were very few people who were getting familiar with it. We started seeing some transformations, some successes, some failures, but it came with a lot of learning. So now we see many agile organizations across the world. Some organizations are in the beginning phase of transformation. Some are in their second or third phase or wave of transformation, as they say. Some have mix of traditional and agile methods because that's what it's helping them, or they're just transforming in a so slow pace. They have their own journey. But along the way, in 20 years, the industry learned a lot. We learned a lot. And now we have a lot of data to consume. And while consuming that data, while reading the articles on internet, while hearing experiences from other people, we also create some myths, some assumptions and biases in our brain, and that they might not be helping us in moving forward in our own transformation journey. So, and that's not it. We also learned some good things which we would like to share with others, and we can learn from each other. But overall, I would say is that it's a long journey, and we have came across a long way. But this is the time, if we want to have really strong foundation, if we want to be really good into being agile, maybe we should look a step ahead, a look into a deeper level of our mind, our behaviors, and see how it would help us. So I can give one example. So I was mentioning that there are many patterns of transformation. I have been experiencing a trend of working with people who claim to know Agile, but actually they have some wrong impression of it. Or maybe they are doing something and they think that that what means Agile, like just doing daily stand-up and we are Agile, or running sprints in fixed budget, fixed scope, fixed timeline projects, and we are agile. So it all shows our resistance to change, or maybe our assumptions that following one practice would make us agile. There is nothing wrong about it. If you are new in the journey, you have to start somewhere. So wherever your current condition is, it's the right condition. The only thing which we have to look into is how we can improve from there instead of perceiving it as the right way or the final way. Okay. So there are many things which we would like to unlearn. So in our day-to-day work while doing the agile transformation, we meet many different kind of people. We encounter different situations, different roles, and based on our own experience or reading about other coaches or teams experience, we start building some myths, or we start having some biases or assumptions. So for having all these old behaviors or myths or assumptions, which are no more working for us in the agile transformation. We would just like to unlearn them so that there would be a room in our brain to come up with new ideas and improve our behaviors. Having said that, now we know there are some biases which we would like to let go. What makes unlearning so difficult? If we understand we want to unlearn some behavior, then what's stopping us? So I asked many people in my network and in my previous sessions, and we came up with a small list. So some of the common challenges of unlearning are unlearning and relearning. It's really hard because it takes a lot of effort and time. Some people think that it's not important to put that much of effort. Um, Sometimes we have those myths that these behaviors are good enough and they have been helping us for a long time. Why would I spend time on working on improving on this? Some people really don't have interest into the improvement or build new skills, build new behaviors. Sometimes we think it's not essential. If any new behavior is totally different from our regular behavior, we just go into the ignorance mode. Like if you talk to some traditional managers, they would say that command and control has been helping them to have the control on the project. Then why to change into more leadership style, why to empower the team, why to let go of the control? So we just ignore or we just reject the new idea because it's helping for them, even if it's not helping for the organization or the product. So these are some of the challenges of unlearning. So I would like to share with you Dustin's bike experiment. And this experiment talks about a very small behavior. It's a very common behavior. We learn how to ride a bike when we were really young in our childhood. And Dustin made this experiment to look into if we change the mechanism of our bike, engineering of the bike, then whether he would be able to still ride it or not. So what he did, he changed how the handle of the bike works. So if you want to turn to the right, you have to move your handle to the left and vice versa. So let's see what happens.
Hey, it's me, Destin. Welcome back to Smarter Every Day. You've heard people say it's just like riding a bike, meaning it's really easy and you can't forget how to do it, right? But I did something. I did something that damaged my mind. It happened on the streets of Amsterdam, and I got really scared, honestly. I can't ride a bike like you can anymore. Before I show you the video of what happened, I need to tell you the backstory. Like many 6-year-olds with a MacGyver mullet, I learned how to ride a bike when I was really young. I had learned a life skill and I was really proud of it. Everything changed though when my friend Barney called me 25 years later. Where I work, the welders are geniuses and they like to play jokes on the engineers. He had a challenge for me. He had built a special bicycle and he wanted me to try to ride it. He had only changed one thing. When you turn the handlebar to the left, the wheel goes to the right. When you turn it to the right, the wheel goes to the left. I thought this would be easy, so I hopped on the bike, ready to demonstrate how quickly I could conquer this.
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Destin Sandlin. First attempt riding the bicycle. So the faster I go, yeah.
I couldn't do it. You can see that I'm laughing, but I'm actually really frustrated. In this moment, I had a really deep revelation. My thinking was in a rut. This bike revealed a very deep truth to me. I had the knowledge of how to operate the bike, but I did not have the understanding. Therefore, knowledge is not understanding. Look, I know what you're probably thinking. Destin's probably just an uncoordinated engineer and can't do it. But that's not the case at all. The algorithm that's associated with riding a bike in your brain is just that complicated. Think about it. Downwards force on the pedals, leaning your whole body, pulling and pushing the handlebars, gyroscopic precession in the wheels. Every single force is part of this algorithm. And if you change any one part, it affects the entire control system. I do not make definitive statements that often, but I'm telling you right now, you cannot ride this bicycle. You might.
So he did this experiment with multiple people across the world, and nobody could actually ride this bike. It took him approximately 8 months to unlearn how to ride the usual bike and relearn to ride this new bike. He did the same experiment with his kid of 8 years old, and it took 2 to 3 weeks for the kid to relearn and learn the new way of working of this ride. Um, so it really shows something. Some people have more flexibility in their brain. Some behaviors are too old. Some behaviors are not that too old, which impact how much effort and time you have to put into to change your behavior. The interesting thing what happened is after 8 months, when he was able to learn how to ride this new bike, he thought, let's try to ride the usual bike, the old bike. And he couldn't do it. It took him 20 to 30 minutes to generate those memories back in his brain to be able to ride the usual bike. And it tells us a lot. Even if we learn a new behavior, our old behavior is somewhere, some down in our brain, which by effort or trigger, it can come back. So let's look into what really happens inside our brain when we learn any new behavior. So our brain is made up of various neurons, and these neurons are connected by some connections called synapses. So in the first picture, you can see these orange lines. It shows the connections between the neurons, and it holds the memory. So if we are doing any task multiple times, then those connections become really strong, and it becomes so natural for us. So we don't have to think while crossing the road in the red signal, because the red light represents us. We have to stop, and it has become so natural to us that we don't have to think twice before crossing the road. Because we have done this multiple times, it has become so natural. So the connections between the neurons that holds that memory for that behavior is really strong. If we want to unlearn this, then we have to put conscious effort, which will weaken the connection or break the connection between the neurons. You can see in the second picture, those connections are no longer there if we unlearn any particular behavior. After that, if you want to relearn the same behavior or the similar behavior in the new form, then new connections are made. In the third picture, you can see the green neurons and the connections between them. And you have to keep repeating them so that the connections become really strong. So that's what happens in our brain when we try to learn, unlearn, or relearn the new behavior. So it's very simple to say that we can unlearn and relearn the behavior, but it requires a lot of effort. For this, there are many neuroscience models. One of them is the feed model, and I really personally like it because I have been using it and it works really well. In the feed model, the F represents the focus. Focus means we have to put conscious focus into the behavior that we want to change in ourselves. So some time back, I started learning about the coaching, and first thing which I really wanted to change was how to being neutral during the client conversation, and how I can stop my urge to not share my own opinion instead of asking them about their own behavior. So I had to put a lot of focus during the conversation, and after that, while doing the self-reflection, to focus into this behavior, particular behavior. The second kind of focus could be um, noticing the behavior of your role models. Just watch great coaches, great leaders, great speakers, and find out the patterns and practice accordingly. So putting focus into something actually activates our brain areas, which can hold the memory of that behavior. Then E in the feed model stands for effort. So um, after putting the focus, if we want to change our behavior, we have to put a lot of effort into it. And this effort is the conscious effort towards changing the behavior. So for example, in my coaching behavior, what I would do is few techniques that would help me in changing that behavior. For example, when going for a coaching conversation, um, prime my mind, remind myself 2 to 3 times, hey, I have to be neutral, I have to be neutral, I have to be neutral. And I would not share my own experience if the client has the similar experience, without asking questions from my client first. So priming the mind really helps. It becomes easier for your brain to have this memory while having the conversation. Secondly, you can put some reminder, like if I would be having the online call, then I can put a sticky on my laptop screen or somewhere across the wall where I could see that I have to put focus on this behavior. And after the coaching conversation, I can do self-reflection to look into how did my coaching conversation go and how I can improve it further. Putting all this effort becomes easier if you have a buddy. So if you're doing peer coaching, then you can ask the feedback from your client or someone who was observing you. So till what point you want to put this effort, there should be a stop, right? There should be a time when we can say that, hey, this behavior has become natural to me. So we have to keep putting effort till it becomes effortless, till we reach to the point where it's so natural that our brain does it automatically. And for doing all these things, you need the determination. Without determination, without having the clear purpose, this won't work. It will just fail. You will break down. You will stop in middle of your journey. So having the right determination really helps. Um, Many people ask me why some people take more time to change the behavior versus some people take less time. Or when we were young, it was easier to inculcate new skills, but now it's so difficult. Some behaviors are easier to let go than others. All this also depends on the health of our brain. So Andre Vermeulen, he is the researcher and consultant in neuroscience. He has his own company, Neuralink. If you're interested, you can read more about it. He came up with a model of neuroagility. And this model talks about 6 brain-based factors that help us to improve the health of our brain. First factor is brain fitness. Brain fitness is very similar to our physical fitness. If we keep on doing mental exercise, then it will keep our brain fit. The second factor is stress. If you are in the stressful state, you won't be able to think properly, won't be able to creative and look for new ideas. So take help to work on your stress. Many organizations, they also provide support if someone is in a stressful situation, or you can actually do a lot of things sitting at home, like doing meditation, using the YouTube videos, or talk to therapist online, or just talk to your friend. The third factor is about sleep. Sleep works as the detoxification of your brain. So all the information which is not relevant, brain would let go, and the important information would be saved properly while you are sleeping. And next day you will feel so refreshed and open for new ideas. The next one is about movement. Movement is any kind of body movement, even moving your hands and head, or walking around, taking breaks in between the meetings. It really helps because it flows more oxygen into your brain, which helps in the overall health of the brain. The next one is about attitude. If someone has negative attitude about the change, then that person won't be open for any kind of change, any new ideas. So having positive attitude really helps in unlearning and learning new behavior. The last one is about food. We all know that healthy food really keeps our overall physical health in shape. Similarly, it also impacts our mental health. So good, healthy nutrients, it supports our brain functioning. It supports the neuroplasticity of our brain. So these are all the factors. So once you combine the feed model to put effort into changing any behavior, and also work on the neuroagility. That means your brain is fully functional and at the optimal state. Then these two things really help in learning and relearning. And when we work at the behavioral level, then agile transformation becomes really good. It becomes better. If you have any questions or you want to learn more about um, neuroagility, I have done the session on the Toronto Agile Conference. You can watch out the YouTube video or connect with me on LinkedIn or send me an email. Thank you.